An old manor called the Clock House. 24 hours to investigate the hauntings.
Any spirits here?
Hello and welcome to Most Haunted. This week we brought you to the beautiful Surrey countryside with quaint villages and picturesque views. But behind the facade of quiet country life lies the Clock House, a place so haunted that the owner called us in to investigate. Tonight we're spending 24 hours to uncover the truth.
Deep in the Surrey hills lies a manor that has housed families for over 900 years. It was built in the 12th century and was originally a farmhouse. In 1307, John Risbreg occupied the house with his family, but who occupied the house after that is unclear. Maybe tonight we will find out who it is that is making ghostly disturbances.
This is going to be a very interesting venue. There have been families living on this site for well over 900 years, but it's not terribly well documented, certainly not for the public view. You can't look up the details on the internet, get them from ghost books, or even history books for that matter.
I've lived next to the Clock House.
Families living on this site for well over 900 years, but it's not terribly well documented, certainly not for the public view. You can't look up the details on the internet, get them from ghost books, or even history books for that matter.
I've lived next to the Clock House for 20 years, and ever since I've lived here I've always admired this house and saw it really falling into ruin, not ruin but almost ruin, and I really wanted to get my hands on it and bring it back to how it used to be.
It's not an evil place, and as Fred said to me already, the previous occupants of the house want him to be here. He's renovating it. Now that's something else, of course, which causes ghostly activity. Knocking of walls, bashing things about, even redecoration causes ghosts to reappear. But in this case, they seem to be happy at what he's doing.
This is the oldest part of the property and it dates back to the 1200s. It also seems to be the safest because the owner's dog Freeway refuses to go into any other part of the house.
The dog is frightened of the property, and it's a huge dog, but it will only stay in the kitchen. It dare not venture out of the kitchen into another part of the building. It just stands and stares, looking into the corner of a room as if something's standing there but he can't see it. Or all of a sudden, for no reason at all, its hackles stand up on its back and it starts to growl, which of course are signs that there is paranormal activity going on here in the building.
This corridor links with the Georgian part of the house, and witnesses have seen two monks standing in this very spot.
Everyone always refers to them as monks, but of course up until 1534, this being a large manor house would have had its own priest here. At the time of Henry VIII, of course, they were building priest holes, and they've got one here in this property where Catholic priests would hide to avoid being captured and of course hanged, drawn and quartered by King Henry VIII's soldiers. So they're probably priests rather than monks. Two of them have been seen.
In this upstairs corridor, ghostly footsteps are heard regularly, and this door opens and closes on its own.
Just before I bought the clock house, I was told about various things that had happened here. Footsteps that had been heard in the corridors, monks that had been seen, a woman in a bonnet. And it frightened me a little bit, but I still wanted the house, so I moved in. And the first night I moved in, I had about 3 or 4 people staying here with me. But after that night, it's felt like I should be here. It's felt like home. And since I've been restoring it, it's felt even more like home. It's as though whatever's here wants me to do it, and they're happy with it, which makes me feel a lot better.
This is the most haunted room in the house, the living room. Strange myths have been caught on camera. A cavalier, a knight and a monk are all said to haunt this room, and hopefully we will catch them tonight.
If I hadn't taken the picture myself, I wouldn't have believed it. If someone had showed it to me, I would have thought, yeah, you've messed around with that, you've done it on a computer or something. But because I did it myself, I mean, I still really can't believe that we're sitting in this room full of the things that I saw. So I'm glad you're here today so we can maybe unravel some sort of mystery here.
The main room, which has the paranormal activity, does seem to have an atmosphere about it. Now, we do have photographic evidence which seems to show what is known as ectoplasmic mist. It's just kind of a fog on the photograph. This is quite common in places that are known to be haunted. Whether it is actually something to do with paranormal activity or whether it can be, a camera fault, for instance, we don't know. But there was nobody in that room that was smoking, that is for sure. One thing we have to be wary of when we're doing an investigation at the clock house is the fact that there are wooden floors all over the place. Now, these tend to creak very loudly when somebody walks on them. Also, the fact that the building will be creaking naturally when it cools down and warms up, so we have to take that into consideration and not jump to any conclusions without checking them first.
There's nothing that we've been given, there's not a lot we know. I couldn't really go away, pull it off the internet, but of course Fred has got lots of names. I think he's got most of the occupants of the house over the years, but he hasn't told us yet. So it's going to be very interesting, and I'm hoping tonight that Fred will be with me when Derek's going round the place, and I'll be asking Fred, is that true? Did they live here? Or did they die here? And of course, as Longfellow once said, all houses wherein men have lived and died are haunted houses.
Our medium Derek Okora had no idea where he was spending the next 24 hours. The clock house is a private dwelling with an unclear history. Fred Batt, the owner, was hopeful that Derek would be able to solve who or what was causing the ghostly phenomena.
I'm very aware just a moment ago, before we come through that aperture, of a symbol of a cross. And the cross is very, very, very important for an individual that walks this passageway. The cross is the symbol. I can't quite make it out yet, but I feel his energy is trying his best, bless him. He's a good, benign spirit. But now I'm aware, like I was, like a beckoning to come up this passageway.
Yeah, let's go.
And it's like as if I want to stop at this doorway. And like the spirit man's not blocking our passage, but just mentally, let's just see what he's going to try and do. Oh yeah, okay. He walks up and down this passageway and he causes, not to hurt people, that's for certain the opposite, noises to take place here because of his movements and what have you, like walking, knocks and things like that. And as I got his outline, and his outline's now still here with me, I've got this like white background, emblazoned here in front of me. I'm taking his body form just for the moment, and there's a really large red cross like this. Now what this means I don't know at this moment, but the pride and the proudness of, I feel he was a warrior of strength, a leader of men, and a link with something to do with, thanks Sam, bless you, because I wouldn't have known that, thank you, would have been a leader of men and linked with the word Knight Templar. Knight Templar. And this is the symbol that I feel as if I've got directly in front of me. Now, his energy is here, but he's not